There are some beautiful studies showing that people who take a 20-minute nap within the 4 hours after triggering learning, or people that do a non-sleep deep rest type protocol, even just sitting there quietly and not doing anything, they learn much faster. In other words, the brain rewires much faster.
Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting. But the foundation of that whole process should be, what should I focus my attention on? Auditory attention, visual attention, or proprioception. Should I focus on where my limbs are relative to my body, or should I focus on the outcome? This is a critical distinction. You can decide to learn how to do a golf swing, or learn how to shoot free throws, or learn how to dance tango, and decide that you are going to focus on the movements of your partner or the positions of your feet. You maybe are going to look at them. Maybe you're going to sense them. You're going to actually feel where they are. Okay, so you have to allocate your attention. And I'm going to tell you the neurobiological explanation for learning a skill is perform as many repetitions as you possibly can, at least when you're first trying to learn a skill. Now, that might sound like a duh, it's just more reps, but it's not so obvious. There's no reason why more repetitions should necessarily lead to faster learning, because you could also say, well, more repetitions, you can make more errors, and those errors would lead to poor performance, like misstepping a number of times. But errors will tell you exactly what to focus on. There's a shadowy side to that, which is, well, why would I want to just repeat the same thing over and over again if I'm getting it wrong 90% of the time? And the reason is that the errors actually cue your nervous system to two things. One, to error correction, and the other is it opens the door or the window for neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain and nervous system's ability to change in response to experience, essentially to custom modify itself in order to perform anything better. So if you are performing a task or a skill, like you're learning how to dance and you're stepping on the other person's toes, or you're fumbling, or you're not getting it right, those errors are opening the possibility for plasticity. If you walk away at that point, you've made the exact wrong choice. So once you're familiar with something and you're performing it well every once in a while, you're accomplishing it better every once in a while, then you can start to cue your attention in very deliberate ways. And the question, therefore, becomes what to cue your attention to. And the good news is it doesn't matter. It turns out it doesn't matter so much what you pay attention to during the learning sequence, provided it's something related to the motor behavior that you're performing. I'm not good at a tennis serve. So if I've done, let's say 1,000 repetitions of the tennis serve, maybe I got it right 3 to 10 times, do this post-training session where I let my brain idle and I get some good sleep and I come back and now I start generating errors again, presumably or hopefully fewer errors, but I decide I'm going to cue my attention to something very specific, like maybe how tightly I'm holding the racket, or maybe it's my stance, or maybe it's whether or not I rotate my right shoulder in as I hit the ball across the... Turns out that as long as it's the same thing throughout the session, learning is accelerated. But just to be really clear, you can and one should use your powers of attention to direct your attention to particular aspects of a motor movement once you're familiar with the general theme of the movement. But what you pay attention to exactly is not important. What's important is that you pay attention to one specific thing. And then there are these incredible data on so-called gap effects. So there have been studies now of skills that are physical skills, mental skills, where people will, for instance, try to learn scales on the piano, or a math problem, or a spatial problem, or a physical skill. And then at random, every so often, a buzzer will go off and the person will just be told to do nothing. Sit there, eyes closed or eyes open, and do nothing. Just stop the learning process for about 10 seconds and then return to doing what they're doing. These are these little micro rests. It turns out that during those micro rests, the hippocampus, a brain area, as you know, that's associated with learning and memory, and the neocortex, also associated with learning and memory, undergoes replay of the thing that the individual is trying to learn at 20 times the speed, also in reverse, just as in sleep. And that can lead to accelerations in learning.